Hello, it is Holly. I am back. I have like a scratch. Well, it is a scratch. I don't know why I said like a scratch. A scratch on my nose, or like right on the side of my nose, like my cheek. And that's from Oscar. It was an accident. It's still not okay, but it happened. And it is like moderately nice out today. So I have a couple of windows scratched. I will turn off my air purifier though for you so you can't hear that. So you might hear road noise and I don't care because I want some fresh air in the house. So yes, I thought I would do my next try a chapter. Did I say that weird? Try a chapter video. I need to put my hair up because otherwise I'm gonna play with it the whole time. The cats are sleeping. Hopefully they will stay that way. But yes, so I have my next 5 books and then I think I'm going to do a little unhaul after this. So I have those books here. So these are the next 5 that I have. So I have Blood Scion, Only Monster, One Dark Window, Daughter of the Moon Goddess, and Belladonna. I've actually tried Belladonna before and it wasn't working for me, so don't have high hopes for that. But I think I'll just go in this order for, you know, ease of use. So these are all series. So let's get into it. So first is Blood Scion by Deborah Falaye? I don't know. She watched Passions. I would watch Passions as a kid. It is blurbed by Stephanie Garber. So I'm guessing this is oh no, it has like the Owl Crate or Fairy Loot? Fairy Loot. So that's the cover obviously, but then oh, there's just one person on the dust jacket. I have not heard anything about this book. And then the cover is just basically the same as the other one, but without the writing on it. So it has this cute thing. Like I said, I don't know anything about this. There is a content warning. It says, this book is inspired by the real life horrors endured by child soldiers and the war on children in particular, and therefore tackles themes of war, violence, and sexual assault. Please read with care. Okay. I shall read you the synopsis. I am a descendant of Shango, the god of heat and fire. I am a living inferno. I am a dead girl walking. 15-year-old Sloane can incinerate an enemy at will. She is a Scion, a descendant of the ancient Orisha gods, but under the brutal rule of the Lucas or Lucis, I'm probably going to go Lucas, her identity means her death. Her mother knew as much. She disappeared trying to hide Sloane's truth. Sloane, too, has hidden her abilities, but on her 15th birthday, she is conscripted into the Lucas army. Once taken, Sloane must not only conceal her power, but overcome the bloody challenges of Lucas training. But if she can infiltrate the Lucas, she could destroy her enemies. The people who think of her as less than human, the overlords responsible for her mother's disappearance. Sloane rises through the ranks and gains strength, but in doing so risks something greater, losing herself entirely and becoming the very monster she abhors. Okay, so I read the first chapter. It's not bad. There's nothing like, I can't tell you why, but I'm not particularly interested in it. Like, I don't find this synopsis particularly interesting. It is interesting because there's no mention of like a boy or a love interest of any kind. So part of me is like, oh, does that mean there is no love interest? And like part of me thinks like, oh, that's great, different. But the other part of me is like, boo, I love romance. But I might look at reviews and see if I should keep it, but I'm leaning towards unhauling right now. Just because I feel like this is, again, I think I've said this a lot throughout all of these. I think we've learned a lot, mainly me, that buying these book boxes was a mistake. In that 3, 4, 5 years ago, this book probably would have been good for me, but where I am now in my reading is it's not. and I just have to stop holding on to books thinking that maybe someday I'll want to read them. Okay, and the next one is Only a Monster by Vanessa Lynn, and it says only a monster can kill a hero. And I don't think I've heard really anything about this either. The screen edges are cute. Here we have a boy. Okay, I'm guessing this is Fairy Loot because it has like the cover. This is the inside dust or like end pages. And the back of the end pages. Why they're two boys. Let me double check. Yes, it is a Fairy Loot. I feel like I have talked about this book before, but maybe I did an unboxing. Something. There's nothing on the dust jacket. In every story, there is a hero and a monster. It should have been the perfect summer. Sent to stay with her late mother's eccentric family in London, 16-year-old Joan is determined to enjoy herself. She loves her nerdy job at the historic Holland House, and when her super cute coworker, Nick, asks her on a date, it feels like everything is falling into place. Then a Good Samaritan attempt gone wrong sends Joan spinning through time, and her life quickly begins to unravel. Her family aren't just eccentric, they're monsters with terrifying hidden powers, and Nick isn't just a cute boy, he's a legendary monster slayer who will do anything to bring them down. As she battles Nick, Joan is forced to work with the beautiful and ruthless Aaron Oliver, heir to a monster family that hates her own. She'll have to embrace her own monstrousness if she is to save herself and her family, because in the story, she is not the hero. Okay, so I only read the prologue. I kind of went into this honestly after the synopsis thinking like, no, I'm not gonna pick this. I'm probably gonna unhaul it. I don't know, I'm a little more interested now. I think I'm gonna keep it. I'm gonna double check Goodreads. I want to make sure, like, is it like a long series or something like that? If it's just a duology. Right now, this is the book I would pick. But I don't know. I'm kind of like surprised. I also am afraid of a love triangle, so I don't know. We'll hold on to it for now, though. Next is One Dark Window by Rachel Gillig. Which just has this like beautiful like emeraldy dark green end pages, and I think that this is like a gothic-y story, and that does typically freak me out, but I'm gonna give it a try unless the synopsis really gives me the heebie-jeebies. Oh, the dust jacket is reversible, so then this is the other one. Interesting. I think that Tori from A Novel Life really likes this book. Oh, that's kind of creepy. I don't know if you can, there's like end pages. Actually, I feel like you can see it better on camera than I can in person. And then more people. But yeah, I think it's like gothic-y. So this is Fairy Loot. Oh yeah, it like gets right into the, is that a misprint? Oh no, that's, like, I thought I got right into the book, but that's like a, you know, I feel like books don't do that anymore. Where like there's like a scene at the beginning of it or something. I don't know. I think this is fairly popular. I think it's a duology, but I also, like I said, I think it's gothic, and that is often a little on the creepy side for me. Like, this is how I describe it, is I love Northanger Abbey by Jane Austen. It is one of my favorite Austens. If you were like, Holly, what are your favorite Austens? I would say, obviously, Persuasion, Pride and Prejudice, Northanger Abbey, and Emma. And then Sense and Sensibility and Mansfield Park would just be like way down on the bottom. And Northanger Abbey is like, it may be my second favorite. I like go back and forth sometimes between that and Pride and Prejudice, because obviously Persuasion is number one. But even Northanger Abbey is like at times too creepy for me. Like it borders the line. Like, that is how creeped out I am. Or like The Secret Garden, which I love. It is like my favorite book. And I've read it so many times. I've seen the movie so many times. When like there are creepy moments with Colin and you don't know it's Colin yet. But like, I know it's Colin because like I've read this book a million times and I've seen the movie a million times. It freaks me out. So, you know, I tend to avoid stuff like this. And while I know that people talk about this book and like it, I actually don't know anything about it. So, you know, I'm assuming tarot cards are involved in some way because I feel like this like cover page looks like a tarot card or something, like this book cover. I don't know. Anyways, synopsis. I was born with the fever, my blood dark as night. An ancient mercurial spirit is trapped inside Elspeth Spindle's head. That is quite the name. She calls him the Nightmare. He protects her, he keeps her secrets, but nothing comes for free, especially magic. When Elspeth meets a mysterious highwayman in the forest, she is thrust into a world of shadow and deception. Together they embark on a dangerous quest to cure the town of Blunder from the dark magic infecting it. As the stakes heighten and their undeniable attraction intensifies, Elspeth is forced to face her darkest secret yet. The Nightmare is slowly, darkly taking over her mind, and she might not be able to stop him. Yep, a gothic fantasy romance. I don't know. Nothing creepy has happened yet. And it's like kind of compelling, but I don't know. There's something that's making me say like just pass. But I think that part of me is the part that's like afraid it's gonna be scary. I think I'm gonna put it in the pile with Blood Scion and I'm gonna look at reviews. Okay. Next is Daughter of the Moon Goddess by Lynn, which hopefully I like because I also ordered the second book in this series, so I own both. So this is like the beautiful sprayed edges. This book is beautiful. Oh, also blurb by Stephanie Garber. I have 3 people on the cover. That's a little scary. And then these are the end pages. And the end pages. And this is a big book. This is a retelling. It's a retelling inspired by the Mid-Autumn Legend. There's no like inside art or anything. It is a fairy loot. Okay, the synopsis. There are many legends about my mother. Raised on the moon, Xingyin was unaware she was being hidden from the celestial emperor who exiled her mother for stealing the elixir of immortality. But when her magic flares and Xingyin's existence is discovered, she is forced to flee her home, leaving her mother behind. Alone, powerless, and afraid, I really need to work on my like Chinese. She's from Malaysia. I spent some time in Hong Kong. Makes her way to the Celestial Kingdom, a land of wonder and secrets. In disguise, she trains alongside the Emperor's son, mastering archery and magic, despite the passion which flames between them. To rescue her mother, she embarks on a quest, confronting legendary creatures and vicious enemies. But when forbidden magic threatens the kingdom, she must challenge the ruthless emperor, leaving her torn between losing all she loves or plunging the realm into chaos. Okay, that was a long first chapter. It was 20 pages. So I'm gonna be honest with you, I went into this being like, even though I was like, it's almost like 500 pages. It is 500 pages. I was like, oh, I am enjoying this. I'm gonna keep this. I'm interested, but only a monster is going to be in it. And it's going to be like the pick if I don't like Belladonna, which is kind of what I'm expecting. And as I kept going, I was like, no, it needs to be this. Oh my gosh. I'm like so pumped now. So I'm scared because it's a big book, but it is, I'm very interested, which makes me really happy. Although the last time I was really interested was I think Jade Fire Gold, and that ended up being a little disappointing. So, but I have faith in this one. So this is now the pick. Someone's like mowing their lawn or something. So the last one is Belladonna by Adalyn Grace. I know this series is pretty popular. I think it's a trilogy, but they're like connected, like romance kind of centered stories. I did get this as a library. Oh, this one is also blurbed by Stephanie Garber. You know, in like 2022, she was just really popular. So, oh, this is also a gothic romance. So I did pick this up as like a library book. I don't think I knew I had it, and it was like really popular. So I was like, oh, okay. And I just like did not care about it. Oh look, it even has like a bookmark in it. So yes. Oh, that's an interesting texture. But that's the book, the end pages, or the edges. There's the end pages. I think this has something to do with like death or something. Which I think part of my issue is I'm like, whenever I think of death as like a character or something, I just think of the His Fair Assassins trilogy, and I like can't get that out of my head. So I don't know. Anyways, let's read this synopsis. For as long as Signa Farrow has been alive, the people in her life have fallen like stars. Orphaned as a baby, 19-year-old Signa has been raised by a string of guardians, each more interested in her wealth and her well-being, and each has met an untimely end. Her remaining relatives are the elusive Hawthorns. That's the second Hawthorns I've had today. That's weird. An eccentric family living at Thorn Grove, an estate both glittering and gloomy. Its patriarch mourns his late wife through wild parties, while his son grapples for control of the family's waning reputation, and his daughter suffers from a mysterious illness. But when their mother's restless spirit appears claiming she was poisoned, Signa realizes that the family she depends on could be in grave danger, and enlists the help of a surly stable boy to hunt down the killer. Signa's best chance of uncovering the murderer, though, is an alliance with Death himself, a fascinating, dangerous shadow who has never been far from her side, though he's made her life a living hell. Death shows Signa that their growing connection may be more powerful and more irresistible than she ever imagined. Okay, so I actually ended up reading chapter 1 too. There was like a little prologue. I liked it better than I remembered. I did not remember the prologue at all, but once I read chapter 1, I did remember it. I did like it more, so I think I'm going to keep it. I might, again, just check some reviews and see what people are saying and then decide if I'm going to keep it or not. Is this supposed to be like a romance with death? But we shall see. But the book that we are reading for this video is going to be Daughter of the Moon Goddess. So I will update you at some point. Hello. So in theory, I should be updating you on my book, but I've only read like 2 or 3 chapters. I have not really been in a reading mood. I've been in a very weird mood. I think the whole world's been in a weird mood. And like last week was 9/11, and that is always a very rough time for me. I really need to wash my hair, and I'm getting a little flakies. Yeah, I did like a whole video last week. I'm not going to put it in here, but 9/11 is always just like a very weird time for me to just mentally deal with. And I'm sure that like the changing in the seasons does not help. Plus dance started last week, so I'm like getting into that. And I'm taking 3 classes this year, 2 that are back to back. And like that second one is a more advanced class, which I did want, but I am a little scared about. So like wanting to have 2 classes back to back again. I mean, like as a kid, I obviously did that all the time. Like I'd have 2, 3, 4 classes in a night, but it is a little different now, you know, and it is a more like advanced class and everything. But I tested it out last week. It felt pretty good. I think it is going to be challenging, but I've been working all summer on it. Like I've been working out and I've been doing dance like in my home. Like I've been doing ballet bars and like some technique stuff for like jazz. So I'm like cautiously optimistic about it. I am one of like the older people in the class, so that is weird. But the younger women, they are adults, but they're like 18 to like 24, I think, are the other ages, because we went around and they were all saying when they graduated, and I was like, and I graduated 2007. Like the woman that teaches the class, she was talking, and then she was like, yeah, like Holly's been here for a long, like she's been with the studio for a long time. Like, Holly, when did you start dancing? And I was like, I do not want to say this because it's gonna be a 1900 number. And I was like, I started dancing in 1992 at the studio. So yeah, that's crazy. It might be 91. I think my first, no, it has to be 92. Whatever. I was 3. So, yeah. Nothing like making you feel old, you know? Anyways, but I think it'll be good. That being said, there are some things up in the air because I've thought about mentioning this in videos, but honestly, like, it's weird. And then part of me was like, I don't share stuff like this. So, but like at the same time, in some ways, like I wish, like I want to share, and like if I ever get my breast reduction, I do plan on sharing that experience as much as I am comfortable, because I have watched videos, people talking about it, and I would like to like pay that forward, even if like only one person ever watches it. But anyways, I have been having some issues surrounding my period for pretty bad, like this whole year, almost every cycle. I have had it. I feel so bad, especially if what my doctor thinks is true is true. I feel like I am like the most blessed person, like relatively speaking. So, but so I have been having, I normally have like what I would consider is like a fairly normal period. So I am very consistent unless I am like extremely stressed. My period is very accurate. It typically starts at like the same time of day, like on a 28-day cycle. It typically lasts like 5 days, maybe a sixth sneaky day. Occasionally that like 6, not a day, 7, it is a day. That one's a bitch. If you have those, she's a bitch. But so that, and I would say it's probably on the heavier side, but really only just like day 1 or day 2, and then after that it's like pretty normal. And even heavy, like there are definitely women out there who it is like heavier than mine. So like, you know, like I listen to women talk and I'm like, oh my God, that is not me. So like even like my level of heavy is like for the most part not that bad. So I will occasionally, like I don't really get cramps very often, but I usually like once or twice a year it'll be a little worse, you know, like it's usually when I was stressed, so my period started late. I have noticed in the past like that one will be worse. And I might have cramps, although now in retrospect, were they cramps? I think sometimes they were, because cramping is a very specific feeling, you know, like you can like feel it. So I don't know. And I can't remember that far back, right? You know, like I've been having my period. I'm 36. So like 24 years. So, you know, a long time. That's a lot of time to remember. Anyways, so this year I have started having pain, like excruciating pain. I know it happened in May because it was right before I went to Florida, and I remember it's always like the day or two before my period starts that the pain comes, and it is not cramping, and it's excruciating. And I remember May because I went to Florida, and like so it's usually like 1 to 2 really bad days, and then that third day, which is usually the day my period starts, is bad but not awful. Like I can function, but it hurts, you know. And like pain meds like don't touch it or anything. And like normally like with cramps, like I can like do some stretching, I can move my body and like it'll feel better. Not this. No. And I remember because I was going to Florida and I was like, I do not want to be on a plane feeling like this. Like, and I don't want to be on vacation feeling like this. But fortunately it was just like that day and I was better. Anyways, so then it was like progressively getting worse. It had happened in the months leading up to that, but that one was like particularly bad. And then in June, like the end of June, like my June, like into July cycle, I remember being here, like working at home and just sitting down working and feeling like I was going to pass out. And at first I thought like, am I sick? Like, but I was just like, so like I had like chills, like I was lightheaded. I felt this immense pain, all of this stuff. So I had like messaged my backup. I was like, I need to like step away for a few minutes. And so I got up and I sat down on my laid down on my couch for like 15 minutes. And then it kind of like went away, you know? And then like it still hurt, but not as bad. So I got up, went back to work, whatever. And I remember I was like, oh, I'm starting to feel better. So I had to go grocery shopping. So I was like, oh, well, I'm starting to feel a little bit better. You know, like I have a little bit of pain. It's something with my period. It's fine. So I was like, okay, I'll go to the store. So I remember I went to Walmart and I only had to buy a few things. So I got to the checkout and I could feel it like coming on. And I was like, oh my God, what do I do? Like, am I going to pass out like in freaking Walmart, like at the checkout? So I was able to check out, fortunately. And then there's like benches at the front of the store. So I went and I sat down on a bench and like even just sitting still felt like I was going to pass out. And like, obviously there's only so much like how accurate like fitness watches and stuff are, but like my heart wasn't racing like incredibly, or anything like that. And like, I do have, a history of low blood pressure and low sodium levels. And, like when I was like a teenager and stuff, I would, like black out. By black out, I mean like not pass out, but like my vision would black out and stuff a lot. And I have a lot of that like head rush from low blood pressure, like when you sit up. Not as much now. Like I'm pretty good about getting my like salt content in. Like I try to be like really on top of that and my water consumption, which helps keep your like blood supply good, so your blood pressure stays at like a normal level. I'm still usually in like the lower end of normal, but still normal. So for the most part, I function like a normal human being. But so I was like, am I getting sick? And I'm having like a blood pressure issue, like, because that's kind of what it felt like, but like I was in immense pain. I think all of it was related to the pain. I think it was just like an extreme reaction to the pain, right? In retrospect. So I called my dad, which thank God my phone worked, because my phone does not always work in that particular Walmart. And because I was like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know if I can get to my car. Like, what do I do? So I was pretty close to an urgent care. So my dad said he would drive in. And I said, okay, I think I'm starting to feel better. I will drive myself to the urgent care. Meet me there. So we did that. They were no longer taking appointments, and they had recommended that I go to the emergency room. I will say, I do think one of the reasons they recommended I go to the emergency room is because I was presenting with lower abdominal pain. And yes, that is true. I knew it wasn't my appendix. I knew it wasn't. I had no rebound pain. Like I knew it was not my appendix. So I was like, I really don't want to go to the and it was like a Thursday. I was like, I do not want to go to the emergency room right now. Like, I have to work tomorrow. I have to like live my life, you know, all these things. So I sat with my dad for a while. We ended up going to Wegmans to like test my blood pressure there. Cause I was like, well, maybe like it's just my blood pressure. Maybe I'm just like, you know, I was so fixated on the blood pressure thing. My blood pressure was normal. And so then I decided to just go home. So I think my dad actually followed me home, and then he went back to his house. And my dad told me not to go to work the next day, but I did. Don't tell him. But it was pretty bad. So anyways, so the next month, and at that time, I was like looking stuff up because like I could not function. And I decided that I was pretty sure it was an ovarian cyst, and that like maybe it was rupturing. In some ways, I wish I had gone to the emergency room, because I was like, oh, well, like now I know, like if you have a ruptured cyst, like they can tell like right away, which would have been like moderately helpful to know. But whatever. Anyways, so then in July, I had my annual checkup. So, I went in, and then, which I don't know about anybody else, but like mine is like, there's no time for chit chat, you know? So like, she's like literally like, you know, doing the pap, and she's like, anything else? And I was like, well, I've been having some pain around my period. And she was like, okay, we'll schedule an ultrasound. And I said, okay, sounds good. So, and that was like all we talked about, which is fine. So, scheduled an ultrasound for August. And actually my cycle, like in July and August, wasn't too bad. So I was like, oh, maybe like assisted rupture and I'm fine now. Like it was just like a one-off, like I'm getting older, like maybe it's some sort of like perimenopause or something like that. I don't know. So I went in for the ultrasound, which sucked. I hate it. I just don't like the water drinking part. And like they actually did not tell me ahead of time that I would be doing both an abdominal and a transvaginal ultrasound, which honestly, I'm kind of glad they did not tell me. But because when she told me that she was like, okay, I'm going to do the abdominal ultrasound or like whatever, you know, where they're just like on your stomach, like they do with like pregnant women and stuff. And she's like, and then you'll go pee and get undressed and then we'll do the transvaginal. I said, ma'am, you said the magic words. I could pee. Especially when they're like pushing down with that little thing on your freaking stomach. I don't know. Like, how do pregnant women do that? Like, how do you have a full bladder as a pregnant woman and have a baby there, like putting pressure on you and you don't lose your mind? Don't know. You are amazing and heroes for that. So anyway, so we did that. So I think if I remember correctly, so I know I had one cyst on my left side and it was 4 centimeters. I believe it was 4 on my right side. It might have been 3, but I believe it was 4 that were like 2 centimeters. And I was like, okay. And like, it's just the ultrasound tech. Like she told me, and then like the nurse called me like a couple days later and said like, okay, the doctor just wants to wait and look and do another ultrasound next month. So in September, and then we'll go from there. And you'll meet with the doctor after that ultrasound. I said, okay, no problem. So we did that. And so at that point, I was under the impression, and this could still be the case, that they were just functional cysts, which functional cysts are, because I've gone down a rabbit hole now, are normal. They happen every month when you ovulate, if you're ovulating, and it is part of ovulation. And then normally like they just like basically like calcify, and then it's like corpus luteum, and then that's like what releases some hormones to, in theory, like help you maintain a pregnancy. And then if you don't get pregnant, then they just like go away. But sometimes what happens is they don't go away like they're supposed to, and so they could potentially keep growing, and that's when they can hurt you. And if they get big enough, they can be very dangerous, because your ovaries are just kind of like loosey goosey in there, being held on by like some ligaments, because the female anatomy in the reproductive system feels like a complete oversight, whether it's by evolution or by God, whatever you believe in. Either way, makes no sense to me. Because it's like the ovary and the fallopian tubes are not attached to each other, and that just feels like an oversight to me. Like, how did that happen? Anyways, so because your ovaries are kind of just blah, 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 if you get a cyst that's too big, it can create ovarian torsion, because your ovary will like twist on itself, which I've known people who've, sir, I am trying to have a conversation with a camera. So I have known people who have experienced that before. So, and ovarian torsion is dangerous. Mostly it's dangerous to your ovary. It's not particularly dangerous to you as a human being. But for your ovary it is. So anyway, so that's what I was saying. I was like, okay, so they're functional cysts. We're just going to wait and see. It sucks. It's painful. And in theory, the idea would, like, if they get big enough, you get surgery to remove them. If not, you just wait and hope that they burst, and you can potentially go on birth control to prevent ovulation, which I am not on birth control. But that would like prevent them from coming back. So I was like, okay. So then 2 days ago, I went in for my follow-up ultrasound. So I did that. The ultrasound tech said I did a fabulous job filling my bladder. And then she said, I'm sure it doesn't feel like it. And I was like, no. But I did drink less this time. I feel like I found like a decent medium for the water consumption. Anyways, so we did that. This tech didn't say anything to me about them. And like, you can see, at least where I go, you can see the images like up on a TV in front of you, which I'm sure they do, because a lot of times people are going to the OBGYN for ultrasounds, it's probably to look at babies. So, you know, they're really excited. But part of me was like, oh, she did say like a couple times, I think she was like, well, that's your bladder, that's your ovary, like that kind of stuff. But I like I know what I'm looking at, right? Like, I don't even understand how they can tell anything on there. So yes, so then I did that, and then I met with my doctor, and she was like, well, good news is they haven't grown, which is good news. Although I will tell you, I have been having some pretty bad pain. I've even had pain outside of my cycle lately, and I'm like, is it psychosomatic? I don't know. And I've been having some digestive issues lately, no matter what I eat. And I eat pretty well, and there was one week I had like, I did not eat well at all. I ate out like 4 or 5 times, and I was like, oh, maybe that's why. And then I like got back on my normal, healthy, like well-rounded diet, lots of fiber and everything, and things have not gotten better. So I think it may be related. Anyways, so she said that, and then she said, I actually think it's endometriosis, which she may have thought from the beginning, but I just assumed functional cysts. So, which it also, I think in theory, could be both. So the only way to diagnose endometriosis is to actually have surgery and to like have like the tissue removed and examined. And I do know that you can get like, I think they're called endometriomas, and it's a specific type of cyst that develops with your endometrial tissue, which is just the tissue like that's supposed to be in your uterus, and it's where it's not supposed to be, but it still functions like it's in your uterus, which is why it hurts like a bitch. Which would also explain why it hurts potentially like right before my period, but not all month. Because if it was just like the cysts existing, I feel like they would hurt all the time. But I don't know. So anyways, so I am going to be getting I think it's called a laparoscopy or something. And so it's like where they just put like a few holes in you and then they go in. And she said she doesn't know what she's going to do until she goes in there. My understanding is basically they will remove the cysts and any other tissue that they think is like endometriosis. They'll get it tested and let you know. So I'm going to need, she said most people take 2 weeks off of work. She said based on my job, I could probably do 1. I've talked to my manager. She said, well, she's like, obviously do whatever you want. Like, but I feel bad about taking time off of work, especially this time of year. Plus, like, I'm training for a half marathon. I have dance. We're supposed to perform in December. So I'm like, can I dance? Like, all of these things. So, but obviously I want this done. And if it can possibly fix my problem, that would be amazing. So, because basically every month I have to leave work. I try to go to work. I try to tough it out, and then I can't. So I have taken at least a half day, like the last 2 months, on the really bad day. And I like, and then I can't function. Like, I try to push through, and it is just excruciating, and no pain reliever will touch it. Like, it doesn't even feel like it goes down at all. So, like, I mean, I do hope this is the issue. I don't understand how this would be the issue, but it's not something that's come up before. Which is why I said earlier, like, maybe I did have like sporadic problems in the past, and maybe it's just gotten bad enough. I do know you can have endometriosis and sometimes you have no symptoms, and it's not until like you're trying to get pregnant, and then all of a sudden, like as part of your fertility like treatment and trying to figure out what, like, why you're not getting pregnant, they'll find it. So it could be something like that. It could be perimenopause, like is just like triggering something hormonally. I don't know. So she said I will probably get surgery in November or December. I have to wait for the surgeon, like surgery center or whatever, to call me to schedule that. So hopefully they will do that in the next day or 2, mostly just so I can get it planned. I would like it sooner rather than later, obviously for the pain, but also just like it would be more convenient for my life if it was sooner rather than later. I'm probably, did I keep talking about work? So my plan right now is to take 1 week off of work, and then if I feel like I need more time, my manager said I can reach out to her, and then they'll get me on short-term disability. I have 4 vacation days left I can use, and I have like 6 or 7 sick days. But like, I do need some of that time because like I have to take my dad to the doctor. I have to take my mom to the doctor. I have to get a mammogram still this year, which now I don't know if like if I even have the bandwidth in my heart, like in my, to do that. I really should have done it last year. So like, I mean, it's fine. Like, I don't think, it'll be that big of a deal, but I don't know. But when I say like, I feel really bad is like, because I've tried to like read some stuff, because like, if this is endometriosis, I want to know more. And, like, it seems like so many people just get like discounted with this. And I basically went to my if it is endometriosis, I basically went to my doctor for my annual, told her I was in pain, and within 2 months had surgery scheduled. And so I like feel bad, you know. I mean, I'm sure there are a lot of people that are like me and this is their experience. They're just not sharing it. But yeah, so that's what's been going on. And that's been like sucking up a lot of my brain power. So, you know, that's fun. But okay, let me go think and function and figure it out. And I will I might do a separate video talking about it. I don't know. But I do want to get the house around because my dad will take me to the surgery. And I told him, I was like, I've never had surgery. I've had my wisdom teeth out. That's it. So I was like, I don't know what it's going to look like, how it's going to feel for me or anything. So, I was just like, I think I would prefer you stay here at least the first night. Which means I need to get a bed in this room. So, which was always the plan. I just like has him on the top of my priority list. So, I have a bed frame at his house and he has the mattresses. So I just have to work on that so that he can spend the night here. And I said, maybe Oscar will sleep with you. Doesn't really sleep with me, but maybe, you never know. Yeah. He's gonna sleep with Grandpa? Probably not. Gonna wake Grandpa up in the middle of the night? I don't think he'll be as nice about it as I am if you do that. So, anyway. Hello. Sorry if you can hear the burning monster on me. So, I am like 30-ish, I think just under 30% into Daughter of the Moon Goddess. And I don't know. So, it is so slow. And like, I don't understand what's going on. Then I was like, do I keep reading? So I started reading reviews. Apparently there is a love triangle. I'm not okay with this. I am so torn, but like, I just like, I'm forcing myself to read it. I read like 100 pages. My dad had a colonoscopy this week, so I was waiting for him, and I read like 100 pages during that. And I just like, honestly, I feel like I was skimming them, which I'm sure some people will be like, well, that's why you don't know what's going on. But I feel like nothing is happening, and I don't understand like why I'm supposed to care about anybody. And like, I don't know. I mean, the books all have 4 stars or higher, but like my issues do seem to be other people's issues. Now, typically when I DNF, which I'm 99% sure I'm going to, if I don't, I will do another video updating you. Because like, I have nothing to say about this book. Like, I don't dislike our main character, but I don't particularly have any connection to her or anything. So I'm getting a little toasty here. This is my second bed because my dad spent the night here for his procedure. So this is my new reading area. But I crawled under the blanket. So I was getting a little hot, especially with this one on me. But yeah, like, and I mean, I'm pretty sure, like, there were like, there was like a couple of kisses, and I'm just like, I don't understand why. Like, I don't feel any attraction or anything like that. So it's like, I'm so just uninterested. So normally I would keep the book I finish. But this one is a weird situation because I own the sequel. And I'm like, well, should I just get rid of both of them? And honestly, like, they're beautiful books. So, this is probably a horrible idea. Like, I need money. But I think I am going to just keep them and put both of them on my red shelf. Even though the second one isn't red. And you know what? It's my life and it's my library. So I can do whatever I want. So that is what I am doing. How are they able to put like all of their weight into like what are you doing? You little weird. So yes, but I need to go like do chores and stuff. But sir, you can lay down, but we have to get up. We just cuddled for a while to read. I know. I love you too. You're such a good snorty boy. Huh. But we're gonna have to get up. Oh, get those little claws away from my eyeballs. Anyways, so yes, and the cats are loving the new bed. Although they haven't like slept on it since my dad slept in it. I don't know what that means. So, but yes, I was gonna wash the sheets, but I thought he would have to come back this week for my surgery, but I haven't heard anything, so I'm guessing I'm not having surgery this week. So I will probably wash the sheets when I wash mine next, huh? Yeah. Okay, that is it. Hopefully, I feel like we've had a lot of not great success with these books lately, so we shall see. And then I think the next one is a standalone, so maybe that will be better. Yeah, I don't know. Okay. I have been freed from my orange prison, so let me get up. Bye.